Hello, everyone. This is Sirisha, and I host the Women, Career, and Life podcast. Just like you, I've traversed varied paths, stumbled a little, picked myself up, and learned a great deal on my journey. Many of us face similar questions, but we don't always get to have a conversation with our friends or peers. In this podcast, you will hear real stories that you can connect with on the challenges of navigating career and life. You must be wondering who I am. In my everyday life, I'm a career woman, a mom, and an avid reader. I'm also a road tripper, amateur gardener, and even a fashionista on some days. Join me and my guests as we have an open and honest discussion on career change, trade-offs, and working across boundaries. You get the idea. It's a perspective you simply may not hear anywhere else. I'm excited to have my good friend Usha, who's also a career woman and mom, co-hosting the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Siri. I'm so excited to join today's conversation.
I am excited about today's topic. We're going to talk about building a personal board of directors or advisors to support you through life and career. I'm feeling like a CEO now.
That's so true. We're all CEOs of our own lives. And like any CEO, we need multiple perspectives as we go down this long, winding road of life. When you think of it, all of us naturally gravitate towards friends and family for advice, which is great. But I think it also helps to look for blind spots and gaps in our circle and broaden that group a little bit. For example, we all need coaches, we need connectors, we need advocates, and sometimes even critics to disagree with us and help keep us in check. Come to think of it, even somebody as slick as Daniel Craig and James Bond needed Judi Dench, Madam M, and a really, really cool support team which would provide gadgets. I would love to have some of those gadgets. So, in today's episode, we'll talk about why it can be beneficial to build your personal board of advisors with mentors and experts from different walks of life. And for fun, Siri and I are also going to build our own board with favorite popular characters from movies and history. Let's get started. So, Siri, why don't you get us started with some thoughts on who we should have on our personal board?
We've had a lot of discussions ourselves, and it should consist of 4 or 5 key people who are not emotionally invested in you, but instead believe in your abilities and talents, something that you may not even have thought about. These are people who will give advice when you're facing key decisions. And when you're looking to build that board, some key things to keep in mind. You want to look for diversity in background, education, geography, field, sector, even age, all of it. You want a rounded personality in your board. Treat your board also as a very dynamic entity. It's not a static. There may be people who may be there for the long run. There are people who come in and out of it as the need may arise. And when you're considering adding these people, think of it also as a way to look at an aspirational path. Where are you going? So make sure you have, if possible, people from organizations or roles in that path that you're aspiring to. And as you put mentors and maybe non-mentors or peers, this is a story that comes to mind. I was recently at an event where there was a senior leader. She recently met with a marketing graduate. She took the time for many months to meet with her so she could really learn about how social media is influencing people and how to work within that system. And to me, that is a personal board of advisor or director. It might have been a short gig, but it definitely helped her set up for her own future and just learn and expand her horizons.
Social media and artificial intelligence, these are all such new topics. It makes so much sense to reach out to those new graduates. So let me summarize it up a little bit. We all need experts who will be able to get us out of career or life crisis when things are not going well. And then when things are going well, we also need the same set of individuals to push us from just being good to something great. And some mentors will be there for a short time to help with a specific need. And some of them are going to be along with us for our entire life. They'll have your back, support you, and critique you. And we all need those advisors, people who will disagree with us and keep us in check as we go along. And think of it, as you keep building your own board, you'll end up being on other boards as well, because people are going to reach out to you to do that. And it's such a wonderful learning process as you go through this experience.
So, Usha, if you were able to create a sample board for yourself, what would its makeup look like?
Great question. I would have 5 broad areas: personal life, career, health, finance, and a micro lifestyle expert. Now, if you're wondering what a micro lifestyle expert is, it's just a different and focused way of looking at your hobbies or free time. For example, you want to build a life of social service. Instead of just doing it once in a while, you actually want it to be a big part of your life. That would be a micro lifestyle. Or you want to start a side hustle, but you don't really want to change your work or career. You just want something on the side. That would be a micro lifestyle.
I think we should talk about how that would be a good fit in these areas.
So when you think, let's start with the first one, career, and think through who would be a good fit in career. And career has so much scope that it could have its own board of advisors. There are 4 types of professionals I would reach out to. One would be a skills related expert, somebody with the technical skills in your field. The second one would be a business domain expert. And then the third one, probably really important one, is somebody who's an amazing leader, because you eventually want to build your own leadership skills. And then finally, I would also have a professional or a connector outside your immediate group or your company or your immediate sphere of influence to build your expertise.
Career has so many twists and turns to it. There's the aspirational part that you need to be building that board of advisors, but also you need that board of advisors for your day in and day out sounding board outside your group or your company that you're able to reach out to. So that I see as a good fit. And definitely having paid experts or coaches when you need that is something to think about. When you are looking for these career board of directors, keep in mind that going to networking events in your town, your city, or even online is a good way to start building those connections and building that network to be able to bring on board.
Paid advisors is a great idea because networking doesn't always solve all problems. And another area that I can think of where networking will not solve all problems is finance. So why don't you talk a little bit about how we would set up the finance area?
Finance is a very touchy subject. We don't feel comfortable talking about it with family or friends. We really need a paid financial advisor in some cases. You can read all the books, you can get all the information you want, and you can invest time and do it. Nobody's doubting that we are smart and we cannot do it. But it's a question of ROI at that point. Whatever you're going to put into it, are you going to get the return on investment? And is that delta, as it compounds, is it significant enough for you to spend the time in investing with a financial advisor?
And another aspect of that financial advisors is I've read that when you pick a financial advisor, you want to pick somebody who doesn't have a conflict of interest with representing an organization where you may be investing money or something like that. So you want to pick somebody who's independent, who will give you that advice. So I think we're going to have a season on finances itself coming up later. So we'll talk in detail about that. But I agree, it's a great area to actually have a paid advisor.
So we spent time talking about career and finance, but what about our personal lives? This can be a fairly emotional area to have a personal board of advisors because this is talking about family and friends and those people who have known you for a long time. It could be your aunt you've spent summer vacations with, hung out in the back. Sometimes it is my friend who I spent playing hide and seek or tag with. And was it Mr. Paul who helped teach you how to barbecue and flip the burgers and get the temperature and thing perfect during the summer barbecue? As you go into high school, it could be Miss Wright, the teacher and mentor who really helped you and advised you, but everyone really feared, or the high school coach who pushed you and challenged you to do more. The point is, there are people who have seen us grow up and will understand the big picture well when advising us.
People who have seen us grow up are so perfect when it comes to understanding the big picture. And I think we also need folks who have been closer to us in our adult life. For example, relationships you built on your first job or college, or even that family or couple that you hung out with a lot and stayed up late when your kids were growing up. And one other thing I think is very relevant here is something you mentioned earlier, Siri. It's about having and reaching out to individuals in different age groups. That makes so much sense here because they bring out the contrasts in life. So speaking to somebody who's a little older than you gives you a feel of what to hope for in life or what's coming. And then speaking to the younger ones gives you a feeling of accomplishment, or almost, I want to say, reminds you how far you've come in life.
Usha, you were just talking about talking to younger people. So it reminds me of my younger self. And health is such a key part of our lives. So when I think about it, what comes to mind is this nutrition program I tried at work. I really enjoyed it because there was a group, like a board of advisors, that taught me how to eat better, how to exercise, and what really fit my lifestyle and keep me in check. And it's been very successful. It's something that I've tried for many years. And every time I feel like I need a check in, I go back and recheck in with those folks to keep that momentum going. I've also tried a running club a few years ago. And that's really what I needed at that point. So the board of advisors there was all the coaches and the people who were professional runners who knew how to do it right. How do you start essentially from a couch potato to a 5K to a half marathon and get your fitness level built right so that you can be successful at it? And it's such an amazing social experience as well. One of these running clubs, if you ever try joining one of those type of organizations, and it helped me compete and do well in that. But I also realized it really wasn't my cup of tea. So the board of advisors is to make sure you're whichever way you're looking at it to get to where you want to go, to do it well, and not to also injure yourself along this.
That's so funny you say that, because I go to the gym sometimes and I don't know if I'm doing it right or not. And I think I took a while to get here, but I finally found a virtual trainer. She keeps me accountable. I discuss my individual plans. I need that personal attention, and I love it. Having an expert, especially in an area like fitness, when you're starting something new, just makes it so much more effective than browsing. Internet is great, but talking to a person just gets you faster to your goals.
Your needs are changing, your goals are changing. Making sure you have the right board is very critical, and it might change. Like just like we talked about, people might come in and people might go out, and you might realize that that activity is not a good fit anymore and you want to try something new. So something to keep in mind as you build this health board of advisors.
And the last one was micro lifestyle, and it is really no different from any of the other areas we have looked at. You can hire an expert or reach out to an expert, join a club,
Or find even a friend who has that experience who could help you build into that board.
That was a lot of heavy stuff, Siri. Why don't we move on to our fun quiz? I'm going to ask you to pick your board of advisors from a list of movie characters.
Sure, but I want to hear what you would pick as well.
Yes, but you go first. So you're ready to get started?
Yes, go ahead.
Professor Dumbledore from Harry Potter or Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid?
Professor Dumbledore. I mean, his wisdom, and hey, I could always do with some magic in my life.
So no wax in, wax out like Mr. Miyagi?
No, I think it would be too tough. We are recording early morning, and I don't think I'm up for something so harsh.
He's good though. I would pick Mr. Miyagi, by the way. It's just fun. And he might teach me how to eat with chopsticks as well. The next one. Two women. Kiran Mazumdar versus Kiran Bedi.
I'm going to pick Kiran Bedi. She was so inspiring as a child to watch her, and she's so driven. And hey, she held her ground. She was a tough cop, so I really admire her.
I mean, it's the Mr. Miyagi, and then you went to Kiran Bedi on the next one. I won't go for Kiran Bedi again because it'll be too tough. I'll go for Kiran Majumdar with her business expertise and the entrepreneurship. I think she would be great. So there you go. We haven't agreed on the first two. Let's see what the next one has. Mufasa from Lion King or Mushu the Dragon from Mulan?
I'm going to pick Mushu. I like his sense of humor, and to make things a little contrast, that's why I would pick him.
Okay. Next one. May the Force.
Hey, hold on. You didn't pick. Who are you going to pick?
I was thinking I would pass that one. I've seen Mulan. I don't remember too much about Mushu, to be honest. I would go with Mufasa. I just love the wisdom, and I also just love the songs in Lion King. There's something about that movie. I would definitely go with Mufasa and his fatherly wisdom. So now the next one. May the Force be with you. Yoda versus Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. I almost was tempted to say Yoda, but then I keep thinking my board is going to have a lot of wise people on it. But I need somebody who's got energy and who's willing to rebel and provide a contrast as well and go back and forth and have a lot of grace. So I'm going with Obi-Wan.
We finally agreed on something. I would go with Obi-Wan too. Next one. This is from Disney. Again, Mulan versus Merida from Brave.
This is a hard one because both women have veered off from the expectations and set their own course. But I think I'm going to go with Merida from Brave. She's young, she's feisty, she's fighting her mom's expectations and trying to align with her dad's expectations, but she's carving her own path.
I like her a lot too. The movie itself was so much. In fact, we actually watched it just last week. So I would go with her too. Okay, more girls. Hermione from Harry Potter or Nala from Lion King?
I love Hermione. She's smart, she's sharp, she's willing to carve her path, but she would like to be part of the fold. Hey, and she challenges the boys. What's not there to love about that?
And she is so smart. This was a hard one when I think of it, but I probably will go with Nala. I like how Nala does not have any fear in saying what she thinks it is. And she's not wise, but she's able to give you the right advice at the right time and help you change course. At least her role in Lion King was very important. So I'll go with Nala. And hey, more women coming up. So Madam M or Dorothy Vaughan, Madam M from James Bond.
This is a hard one. I'm going to say Dorothy Vaughan because she was a leader here. It's not just that she fought to fit in because there was discrimination at that point, but she also took the stab. I really like that scene when she's trying to figure out that IBM machine and how to get it to work in Hidden Figures. And when those guys have tried it and it doesn't work, and she gets it working. And then she goes and fights for all the women who report into her so that they can continue to grow. And for me, when I look at leadership, it's about growing the people. She is the perfect example of enabling that.
I'm going to go with Madam M. I want the gadgets.
Yes, yes.
And our last one is Bend It Like Beckham girl or the Dangal wrestler girl.
I think Bend It Like Beckham girl. I mean, sports. This is a good one. Sports and women.
I mean, I actually like both of them a lot. This is a hard one for me. I'm not into sports at all. So I probably need the Dangal girl to help me get started on some weight training and help me build some muscle. I love both of them. That was fun, Siri. I mean, we could do a long list. I just noticed we had a lot of women on the list. I don't know if that happened intentionally.
This one was fun putting together. Two things that come to mind is when we started the list initially, we had a lot of men. So it was a conscious thought for us to have women on the list as well, because when you start looking at figures, you have to kind of look through movies and things to find those women. It wasn't such an easy find. And I realized when I think about, I wanted to touch on one where you talk about Kiran Mazumdar and Kiran Bedi. I picked Kiran Bedi for, her toughness and her skills, but something that you brought up is, if I was looking at business and looking at it from that point, I probably should have Kiran Mazumdar because I don't have someone rounding that skill set off. So even after I've picked my board, it's good to go back and revisit and say, I think where I'm going in my journey, I want that expertise. So I might change it in the future.
Good point. If only this could be reality. Movie characters are made out of real life characters. We'll all find personalities who remind us of these characters and more as we go on. But that was a fun exercise. I hope you guys liked it. And we would love to hear who your board would be or which movie character would be on your board.
So, Usha, before we wrap up, do you have a board of advisors for all the different areas?
I don't have it in a formal way, at least. Now that I think of it, I do have people I go to for various things, but I haven't really thought through where are the gaps. Like we started in the beginning, right? Where are the gaps? And now when you talked of like Kiran Majumdar and the business expertise, now I think of it, there are some gaps like that. And those are the gaps I think I'm going to go back and see who I can actually reach out to and fill them so I can actually reach my goals in the next few years.
I have a board of advisors, but I haven't really thought about it, whether it's holistic and has all the skill sets that I would need. And we talked about really it being an aspiration thing. So making sure it's not just what you need now, but what you need in the future. So you set yourself up for being successful at it, be it health, life, or career.
There you go. I guess we all have different needs.
This was a fun episode to record. So let's wrap up this episode, Usha. Why don't you do this the food for thought?
One mentor is not enough. We're going to need several advisors in all the areas we want to grow. They could be family, friends, colleagues, coaches, or professionals. Either way, go ahead and try it, build a board, And we would love to hear who is on your board and why you chose them. That's all we have time for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did today.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Tune in every other Wednesday to catch the next episode. If you think a friend may benefit from this, please share this podcast with them. All the resources we talked about are also available on my website, womencareerandlife.com. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. I would love to hear from you about your stories and your journey. You can reach me on my blog, Twitter, Instagram, or Gmail at Women, Career and Life. Until next time, this is Sirisha signing off. Remember, there are infinite possibilities to drive change in career and life. Which will you choose to make a reality today?